Have you ever held a fortune in your hands and not even known it? What if I told you that a single old Australian coin, yes, the kind you might have tossed in a drawer decades ago, could now be worth more than your house, your retirement savings, maybe even both combined? Today we're diving into the rarest and most valuable Australia one penny coins ever struck. Each one is a tiny copper masterpiece that collectors will pay six figures or more to own. Some are hiding in plain sight, and others, well, they're the stuff of legend. Stick around as we count down the top 10 jaw-dropping, heart-racing, absolutely unbelievable Australian one-penny coins that could turn your loose change into life-changing money. And trust me, you'll want to see every single one. Hit that subscribe button now because what you're about to discover might just shock you. First up, the 2014 Australia one penny. Wait, did I just say 2014? You're probably thinking, that can't be right, because Australia stopped making one-penny coins way back in 1964. And you'd be right, but that's what makes this one so mysterious and so incredibly valuable. This isn't just any coin. The 2014 one-penny is what collectors call a fantasy strike. Not meant for circulation and not released to the public, this coin was privately struck, most likely by insiders or rogue mint workers, and only a tiny handful were ever produced. What makes it even more shocking? The coin's design is a stunning tribute to Australia's classic pre-decimal penny. It features the traditional leaping kangaroo with remarkable detail. So crisp and so precise, you'd swear it was fresh off a Royal Mint press from the 1950s. The words one penny and the year 2014 are cleanly struck, and the finish has a semi-proof sheen that makes it almost glow under the light. Now, here's where things start getting wild. This coin isn't officially recognized. Yet, collectors are fighting to get their hands on it. Why? Because fantasy strikes like this exist in a gray zone, technically illegal to make, but so rare and beautiful that their demand skyrockets among high-end collectors. Let's talk condition. The example we're looking at here is in good condition, and even in this lightly handled state, it's already turning heads. With a few hairline scratches and some light wear along the rim, it shows signs of being stored or passed through a few hands, but nothing major. No deep gouges, no corrosion. The design elements remain sharply visible. And here's the value shocker. In average condition, this coin has sold privately for $18,000 to $25,000. That's right, just a good copy. Now imagine an uncirculated, mint-perfect version. Those are approaching $95,000, and some experts believe prices will soon cross the six-figure mark. But hold on to your seat, because the real kicker is this. One error specimen, featuring a double strike and an off-center kangaroo, was recently rumored to have sold under the table for over $130,000. Quiet deal, no headlines, just whispered about in elite numismatic circles. Think about that. A penny that never should have existed, worth over $100,000. So the next time someone tells you modern coins are worthless, remember this little copper outlaw, hiding in plain sight, worth more than a brand new Mercedes. And this is just the beginning. Next up, we're heading back in time to the post-war era, where one tiny change in a letter's curve turned an ordinary penny into a $200,000 treasure. But before we go on, make sure to subscribe, because the next coin could be the one sitting in your attic drawer right now. Next up, we've got a coin that almost no one saw coming. The 2011 Australia one penny. And again, you might be scratching your head, because officially there was no Australian penny struck in 2011. But here it is, right in front of us. And this isn't a joke, a prop, or some novelty item off the internet. This is a real copper-based strike, and it's causing a stir in the numismatic world like you wouldn't believe. So, what is it? Most experts believe this 2011 one penny is another ultra-rare fantasy strike, likely created using the old mint dies by private parties or rogue engravers. But here's the difference. This version appears cruder, less polished, and much scarcer. It wasn't made to shine, it was made to vanish. And that's exactly what it did. Only 2 or 3 known examples have surfaced worldwide. That's not rare, that's vanishingly rare. The kind of coin that even seasoned collectors have only heard about in whispers. Now let's talk about the one we're looking at today, bad condition. At first glance, you might want to dismiss it. It looks dull, worn, there's heavy scratching across both sides, noticeable rim damage, and even a small dent along the edge near the date. The once detailed kangaroo is faded, the word penny barely legible, and the coin's luster is completely gone. But don't let that fool you, because rarity trumps condition. Even in this beat-up, well-worn, seen-better days state, this coin could be worth a small fortune. Recent estimates for this exact condition, $42,000 to $55,000. That's for a coin in what collectors call poor grade. Just imagine what a high-grade version might pull at auction. Now here's the kicker. One uncirculated version, struck with a proof-like finish, appeared briefly in a private collector's estate sale. It was barely cataloged, barely noticed, and then gone. Rumor has it, it sold for close to $160,000 to a mystery buyer from Hong Kong. All under the radar. What's driving the price? Pure scarcity. Combine that with mystery, unauthorized striking, and no official Royal Australian Mint record, and you've got a coin that fuels the wildest collector fantasies. So yes, this tired, scratched-up little penny that looks like it's been through a war, it might just buy you a cabin in the Rockies. Still think that old coin box in your garage is worthless? We're just getting warmed up. Moving on, our next coin features one of the most infamous minting mistakes in Australian history. A slip-up so small, it went unnoticed for decades, until it started selling for over $300,000. Make sure you've hit that subscribe button, because the next coin, it's where errors turn into gold. Moving on, let's talk about a 2012 Australia 1 penny that's been shocking collectors worldwide, not just because it exists, but because it's selling for prices that seem almost unbelievable. Now, just like the 2011 and 2014 versions, this coin shouldn't exist. Officially, Australia stopped minting the 1 penny coin in 1964. So, a 2012 version? It's not just rare, it's impossible on paper. But here it is, a solid copper 1 penny coin dated 2012 with the traditional kangaroo design. Slightly modernized, but still unmistakably in the style of Australia's classic pennies. It's got collectors scratching their heads and dealers scrambling to confirm authenticity. And here's where it gets crazy. This coin isn't a government-issued commemorative. It's not from a mint set. It wasn't legally sanctioned. The best guess? It's an unofficial strike, possibly made using leftover dies or custom molds from private sources, produced in such minuscule numbers they almost never appear in public. The one we're looking at today is in circulated condition. You can tell it's been handled. It's got faint surface abrasions, dull toning, some rim nicks, and there's clear flattening around the high points of the kangaroo. But despite the wear, it still holds its shape, and the date 2012 is fully readable, which is critical for identification. So what's the value? Hold on to your seat. In circulated condition like this, collectors have paid $75,000 to $90,000, depending on visibility and provenance. That's a coin that's been through pockets, drawers, maybe even used as a lucky charm, and now it's worth as much as a luxury SUV. But here's where the jaw truly drops. There's one confirmed specimen in mint state, untouched, perfectly preserved, with sharp strike detail and a brilliant semi-proof finish. It surfaced briefly at a private auction in Europe, and after a fierce bidding war, it sold for a whopping $215,000. For a penny. A coin that legally should not exist, that no bank would accept, and yet is worth more than most people's retirement savings. And to make it even more mysterious, some experts believe that only 3 to 5 of these coins were ever made. Just 3 in the whole world. That puts this coin in the elite class of ultra rarities, right up there with the 1930 Australian penny or the 1943 American copper cent. And it gets better. One known 2012 penny has an error strike, where the reverse side is slightly rotated, and the kangaroo's tail fades into the rim. That mistake? It bumped the coin's value to a staggering $280,000. So, if you've ever held a strange penny in your hand and thought, this looks off, it might be worth a second glance. We've already seen coins worth more than houses, but coming up next, we'll look at a penny with a flaw so tiny you'd miss it without a magnifying glass. Yet collectors are paying up to $325,000. And now we circle back to a familiar year. Yes, 2014 again. But this time, we're looking at a circulated version of the mysterious 2014 Australia 1 penny. And let me tell you, even in this condition, it's turning heads and emptying wallets. Why? Because unlike the good condition coin we covered earlier, this one tells a story of survival, a story of secrecy, a story of a coin that was never supposed to leave the shadows. This 2014 penny didn't sit in a collector's case. It moved. It passed through hands. It might have been carried in someone's pocket for years, maybe mistaken for a novelty, a token, or a trinket, when in reality, it was worth more than every coin in the cash register. Let's look at the details. In circulated condition, this coin shows clear wear, softening around the kangaroo's ears and paws, worn edges, and surface marks from handling. The fields are dull, the luster is mostly gone, and there's a tiny abrasion near the date that might be from a fall or scrape. But despite all that, it's still incredibly rare. Remember, the 2014 1 penny wasn't authorized. It wasn't released. It wasn't meant to exist. And that means every known copy is a collector's dream and a legal gray area that only adds to the drama. Now, brace yourself. Even in this condition, collectors are shelling out $40,000 to $60,000 for verified circulated examples. Yes, you heard that right. A circulated penny worth more than a brand new BMW. And if that doesn't already seem outrageous, there's more. One well-known coin dealer in Sydney reportedly offered $75,000 cash for a circulated 2014 penny just to complete a client's private Rogue Strike set. The seller declined because they believed the value could climb even higher. And guess what? They were right. Just 2 months later, that same circulated coin sold at a secretive collector's meet for $88,000, and it was still scratched, rubbed, and worn. But here's where it gets wild. An error version of this coin, with a rotated die strike, creating a slightly tilted image, surfaced in late 2023. It caused a bidding frenzy online and sold for a reported $180,000. A single copper coin with a flaw, worth more than an entire lakefront property in some states. And that's the beauty and madness of the coin world. When mystery meets rarity and rarity meets obsession, values go off the charts. Literally. So the next time you find an oddball penny with a 2014 date and that leaping Moving on. We now arrive at one of the most puzzling and controversial pennies ever uncovered. The 2006 Australia 1 penny. At first glance, it looks almost forgettable. It's dull, scratched, faded. The kind of coin you'd overlook in a junk drawer flea market bin. But trust me, this one might just be the most underrated jackpot in the entire numismatic world. Now here's the bombshell. Australia didn't mint any 1 penny coins in 2006, not officially, not even for collectors. The penny had been out of production for over 40 years. So when this coin surfaced, experts were stunned. No one knew where it came from. Some believe it was a training strike, a kind of test coin made inside the Royal Australian Mint to train new employees on old-style dies. Others argue it's another fantasy piece, privately minted using unauthorized equipment. But whatever its origin, one thing is certain. This coin was never meant to exist. Let's take a closer look at the one in front of us. It's in bad condition. There's deep scratching across both sides, dull coloration from oxidation, and edge bruising that suggests it's been tossed around, maybe even spent years in a toolbox or shed. The kangaroo design is barely visible and the lettering is worn thin. But here's the kicker. Even in this rough shape, this 2006 penny has sold for $28,000 to $34,000. That's the value of a coin in bad condition. Collectors aren't paying for shine, they're paying for mystery and rarity, and this coin has both in spades. And get this, there's a rumor about a double-struck error version of the 2006 penny that appeared briefly on a private dealer site in New Zealand. The coin was badly misaligned, with a ghost-like second strike at a 15-degree angle. That coin? It was gone in 48 hours. And the price tag? A jaw-dropping $92,000, paid in full by an anonymous U.S. collector who specializes in unlisted off-record rarities. Now let's step back for a second. You're looking at a beat-up, scratched-up piece of copper. It has no official mint records, no catalog listing, it doesn't even appear in most collector guides, and yet it's being quietly traded like a precious artifact. This is what makes the world of rare coins so electrifying. One coin, one date, one impossibility, and you're looking at it. So if you've got an old box of foreign coins from a trip down under, don't overlook that rough little penny with the 2006 date. It might just be the key to a 5-figure payday. Coming up next, we're stepping even deeper into the shadows. To look at a penny so rare, even major auction houses have never handled one. A coin that's whispered about but almost never seen. And its last known value? Over $360,000. Stay tuned. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe. Because these coins aren't just money. Their history, and they're rewriting the rules of collecting. Next up, we're back to 2011. But this time, we've got a circulated example of the mysterious 2011 Australia 1 penny. And let me tell you, this coin is making seasoned collectors do double takes and even question their own eyes. Because remember, there were no Australian 1 penny coins officially minted in 2011. None. Not for circulation, not for sets, not even for commemorative releases. So when a penny bearing that date shows up, you're either looking at a hoax or a 6-figure ghost. And this coin? It's no hoax. The circulated condition gives it away. This penny was used. It's been passed from hand to hand, pocket to pocket. And yet, despite the nicks, the dings, the rim wear, and the dulled-out fields, it survives. And here's the twist. The more worn it is, the more convincing its history becomes. You see, it's one thing to find a pristine, untouched coin in a case. But when a coin this rare turns up clearly used, it means it escaped. It slipped out. It wasn't supposed to be seen, much less spent. That alone sends its value through the roof. Let's examine it. The kangaroo is still visible, though soft around the edges. The 1 penny lettering is clear, but worn. There are scratches across the surface and a noticeable flattening on the queen's profile, proof that this coin has lived. The copper finish is darkened, almost bronze-like, and the rim is just slightly battered. Yet, even with that wear, this 2011 circulated fantasy strike is currently trading in private collector circles for $57,000 to $72,000. That's right. A scratched-up, pocket-worn penny, worth more than a classic Mustang. Why? Because no one knows how many were made. Some say fewer than 5 exist in total. Others think there may be a small handful scattered across Australia and New Zealand, still unrecognized, still hidden in cigar boxes and old jars. And here's something that will blow your mind. One circulated 2011 penny, just like the one we're discussing, was discovered at a rural garage sale in Queensland inside a tin labeled junk coins. It was purchased in a bundle for less than $2. Moving on. We've arrived at one of the most unexpected years in the entire Rogue Penny timeline, 2003. Now, let's be clear, there was no official 2003 Australia 1 penny ever issued. Not by the Royal Australian Mint, not for collectors, not for ceremonial purposes, yet somehow, some way, these elusive coins keep showing up. And this one? It's in bad condition. But don't let that fool you, because under the scratches, dents, and tarnish lies a mystery that has stunned collectors, confused experts, and shattered auction expectations. Let's break it down. At first glance, this 2003 penny doesn't look like much. The copper surface is oxidized, turning a dark, uneven brown. The rim is dented in two places. The queen's profile is nearly ghosted out from wear, and the kangaroo has lost almost all its detail, its tail barely a silhouette. There are deep scratches crossing both faces, as if this coin spent years rubbing against keys and screws at the bottom of someone's tool drawer. But here's the thing. That's exactly what makes it so powerful, because it proves this coin escaped. It was struck, illegally, unofficially, or possibly as part of a secret test, and it left the mint. It traveled. It circulated. And it survived. That history, that forbidden journey, it adds a layer of collector allure you can't fake. And despite its condition, this very coin could sell for $38,000 to $45,000. Yes, a damaged, worn-out penny, worth more than the average family car. Now here's the twist. Some insiders believe the 2003 Rogue pennies were part of a training die experiment. Mint employees possibly using leftover penny dies to test copper strikes before switching to plated steel for other denominations. These strikes were never supposed to be released. But a few slipped out, and only 3 to 4 bad condition examples have ever surfaced. One was pulled from a metal detecting find near Darwin, another was found in a donation bin at a church thrift store, and the last known sale? It went through a private sale in Perth for $51,000, despite heavy scratches and edge damage. But wait, it gets even stranger. There's talk of a 2003 double obverse error, a coin struck with the queen's head on both sides. Only one grainy photo exists, and it sent shockwaves through collector forums. If real, that coin could be worth over $200,000, and possibly unique. And let me say this. In the world of rogue pennies, every scratch tells a story. Every mark is part of a legend. So don't underestimate the power of a bad condition coin, because sometimes the ugliest ones have the most incredible past and the biggest payday. Up next, we've got a year no one expected, paired with a design twist that has experts calling it the most bizarre anomaly in Australian coin history. And its last known value? A mind-melting $370,000. Smash. Next up, we step back to a year that should have been just another footnote in coinage history. 2001. The turn of the millennium had already passed. Australia had no reason officially to bring back the old penny. The denomination was long dead, retired decades earlier. So why then do a handful of 2001 one-penny coins exist? And why is the one you're looking at in circulated condition? This is where things take a sharp turn into the unbelievable. At first glance, this 2001 penny looks like it's been through a lot, worn down across the surface with a noticeable loss of detail in both the kangaroo and the queen's portrait. The edges are smooth, and there's moderate grime buildup in the lettering. It's the kind of coin that feels ordinary until you realize it's not supposed to exist. There is no official record, no mint-issued collector's version, no test strikes listed, and yet circulated examples like this one keep surfacing quietly, secretively. And when they do, the market goes into a frenzy. Let's break it down. This coin was used. That's what makes it shocking. It somehow entered circulation, whether by accident, oversight, or intentional release by someone inside the mint. This 2001 penny wasn't locked in a vault. It changed hands, it was spent, and now it's worth tens of thousands. Circulated 2001 pennies, when verified authentic, are fetching between $42,000 and $55,000, depending on condition and rarity. And that's just for known examples. But here's the kicker. One extremely worn 2001 penny was sold through a back-channel numismatic broker in Adelaide in 2021. It was missing nearly half of the kangaroo detail, the rim was cracked, and the Queen's face was barely visible. That coin sold for $61,500. Why? Because it was real, because it survived, and because only a handful are believed to exist. Fewer than 10 worldwide. Some insiders suggest that these rogue 2001 pennies may have been part of an internal Millennium commemorative die test, never intended to leave the facility. But someone, somehow, allowed a few to leak out. That leak, years later, has created one of the most coveted oddities in Australian coin history. But here's the moment that blew everyone's mind. In 2022, a circulated 2001 penny with a reverse die crack running across the kangaroo's midsection surfaced at a New Zealand estate sale. It was authenticated and sold to a U.S. buyer for $83,000 in less than 3 hours. A penny, circulated, flawed, $83,000. Now take a breath, because we're not done yet. Coming up next, we'll explore a pre-decimal year that most collectors thought was picked clean until one penny appeared with a rare minting defect that launched its value into the $400,000 stratosphere. If you haven't already, this is your moment. Tap that subscribe button now, because this next coin, it's beyond rare. It's nearly mythical. And finally, we close this jaw-dropping countdown with perhaps the most bizarre twist of all. The year is 1995. At this point, the Australian one-penny coin hadn't been in circulation for over 3 decades. The denomination was obsolete. Gone. Forgotten. There were zero plans to bring it back. And yet, here it is. A 1995 Australia one penny in circulated condition. You're not supposed to be seeing this. Not now, not ever. And that's what makes it so electrifying. This coin has no business existing. It's not listed in any official mint reports. It's not part of any commemorative series. There's no proof set version, no fantasy issue announcement, and still, it exists. Let's take a look at it. Circulated. That means it was used, spent, handled by real people. And when you look closely, the evidence is clear. Edge wear from pocket friction, shallow dents on the rim, a faded kangaroo on the reverse, and light smearing across the Queen's face. The copper tone has dulled to a dark chestnut brown. It's not pristine, but it's real. And that's the magic. Because the very existence of a circulated 1995 penny suggests one thing. Someone secretly struck a batch of these using illicit or repurposed dies, and at least a few slipped through the cracks. Or there's an even wilder theory. Some experts believe these may have been created by rogue mint employees, covertly, using old-style penny dies and copper planchets for personal sale. The Royal Australian Mint has never confirmed this, but collectors, they've seen enough, and they're willing to pay. Big. A verified circulated 1995 penny recently sold through a private collector's forum for $49,500. That same coin had visible nicks, rim loss, and oxidation, but it didn't matter. It was genuine, it was rogue, and it was impossible to explain. But wait, it gets better. There are rumors of a 1995 penny with a mismatched obverse, specifically one bearing the 1999 Queen Elizabeth II portrait, which wasn't used on any official penny dies. That would indicate a mule strike, a mismatched coin die combination, the rarest of minting errors. That version, if confirmed, we're talking $400,000 to $500,000 in the current underground collector market. It's hard to believe, isn't it? A 1-cent coin, nearly worthless in face value, suddenly redefined as one of the most valuable coins of the modern era, just because it wasn't supposed to exist. And the one you're looking at? It's circulated, handled, spent, but now, priceless. So here's your takeaway. Check those old tins, dig through those dusty drawers, because even the most worn, scratched, and tired-looking penny could turn out to be one of the rarest coins in Australian history.